The massive alien ship appeared over Earth's moon without warning. It was beautiful in a way that made Admiral Sarah Chen's teeth ache. The vessel looked like it was made of liquid silver and starlight, flowing and shifting as it moved through space. Nothing like the gray metal warships that protected Earth. Sarah stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching the alien craft through the main screen. Her ship was old, 200 years old to be exact. The paint on the walls had been touched up countless times. The metal floors were worn smooth by millions of footsteps, but every system worked perfectly because her crew treated this ship like their own child. "Admiral," her communications officer called out. "They're sending a message. It's in perfect English." "Put it through," Sarah said. A voice filled the bridge, smooth and musical. "Greetings, primitive beings of Earth. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We come in peace to welcome you into civilized space." Sarah raised an eyebrow. Primitive beings. That was a good start. The alien ship moved closer to Earth, and 6 more vessels appeared. Each one was different, but equally beautiful. Ships that looked like they were made of crystal, others that seemed to be pure energy held in some kind of force field. Sarah had seen these designs before in the secret files, but seeing them in person was different. "Prepare the diplomatic shuttle," she ordered, "and send word to Earth Command. Tell them our guests have arrived." The meeting took place on the alien flagship. Sarah wore her best dress uniform, the dark blue fabric crisp and clean. The medals on her chest were real, earned in the Belt Wars and the Mars Uprising. She brought 10 of her best officers with her. The aliens were waiting in what could only be called a throne room. Everything was white and gold, with strange music playing in the background. At the center stood the tallest alien Sarah had ever seen. It looked almost human, except for the blue-tinted skin and the extra arms. 2 normal arms and 2 smaller ones that moved independently. "I am High Commander Vexitar of the Zephyrian." "Hegemony," the alien said. Its voice was the same smooth tone from the radio message. "I speak for the Galactic Council in this sector." "Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force," Sarah replied. She did not bow. Vexitar smiled, showing teeth that were too white and too sharp. "Earth Defense Force, how charming. We have observed your species for some time, Admiral Chen. Your ships, your weapons, your technology, all very historical." Other aliens moved around the room. Sarah recognized them from the intelligence files. The Luminari looked like they were made of pure light, shifting between different colors. The Nexari were tall and thin, their skin like polished crystal. All of them were staring at Sarah and her officers like they were looking at animals in a zoo. "We would like to see your fleet," said one of the Luminari. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "We are curious about these relics you still use." Sarah nodded. "Of course. We would be happy to show you our ships." The tour was exactly what Sarah had expected. The aliens walked through the Indomitable with barely hidden amusement. They touched the metal walls and made small sounds of disbelief. When they saw the main guns, several of them actually laughed out loud. "Kinetic weapons," Vexitar said, shaking his head. "You fire metal slugs at your enemies. We abandoned such crude methods 10,000 years ago." "Chemical rockets," added a Nexari, examining the engine room. "Combustion chambers. Nuclear reactors. It's like visiting a museum of warfare." Sarah kept her face calm, but inside she was taking notes. Everything they said, every reaction, every casual dismissal. Her officers did the same, their training keeping them silent and professional. The worst part came when they reached the weapons control room. The aliens gathered around the targeting computers, pointing and whispering among themselves. One of the Luminari actually giggled. "Forgive us," Vexitar said, trying to look serious. "It's just that your technology is so primitive. We use phase disruptors that can destroy a ship by shifting its matter out of normal space. You use explosives and metal bullets. Our shields exist in multiple dimensions, said the Nexari. Your weapons could not even scratch them. We move faster than light by folding space itself, added the luminary. Your ships are limited to normal physics. Sarah nodded politely. We make do with what we have. Indeed, Vextar said, which is why the Galactic Council has decided to extend an offer of protection to your species. They moved to the conference room for the formal presentation. The aliens sat in chairs that seemed to float above the floor. Sarah and her officers took their places at the old metal table, its surface scarred from decades of use. Vextar activated some kind of holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the table, showing star maps and fleet formations. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Admiral Chen. There are pirates, hostile species, natural disasters that could wipe out entire worlds. Your current technology cannot protect you from these threats. We offer membership in the Galactic Council, said the Luminari. Protection under our fleets, access to safe trade routes. All we ask in return is access to some of your world's resources, mining rights perhaps, some territory for our bases. Sarah looked at the display. The alien fleets were impressive, she had to admit. Thousands of ships, each one more advanced than anything Earth had ever built. At least, that's what they thought. And if we refuse? She asked. The room went quiet. Vextar's smile became colder. The galaxy has little patience for species that refuse to join civilized society. Accidents happen, pirates attack, sometimes entire systems just disappear. Sarah felt her jaw tighten. There it was. The threat behind all the pretty words. We'll need to discuss this with my government, she said. Of course, Vextar replied. Take all the time you need. We will wait here in your system while you consider our generous offer. The diplomatic shuttle returned to the Indomitable in silence. Only when they were safely back on their own ship did Sarah allow herself to speak freely. Lieutenant Morrison, she said to her communications officer, send a coded message to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. Yes, ma'am. What's the message? Sarah looked out at the alien ships hanging in space like beautiful deadly flowers. Tell them the wolves have shown their teeth. Initiate Protocol Damocles. Morrison's fingers flew over his keyboard. Message sent, Admiral. Sarah nodded. Protocol Damocles. The plan they had been preparing for over a century, ever since the first alien scout ship had crashed in the Australian desert in 2291. The plan that depended on everyone thinking humanity was weak and primitive. Admiral, her tactical officer said quietly. The alien ships are scanning us. Deep-level scans. Let them look, Sarah said. All they'll see is what we want them to see. She walked to the main screen and stared at the enemy fleet. Let them. Think humans were primitive. Let them believe their own superiority. Every species in the galaxy had made the same mistake throughout history. They judged their enemies by appearance instead of capability. The aliens saw old ships with metal hulls and chemical rockets. They saw kinetic weapons and nuclear reactors. They saw a primitive species that could be easily conquered or controlled. They had no idea what they were really looking at. Sarah smiled for the first time since the aliens had arrived. All stations maintain normal operations, and someone get me a coffee. This is going to be a long wait, but not too long. The aliens would make their move soon. Predators always did once they thought their prey was helpless, and then humanity would show them exactly how wrong they were. 3 months passed since the aliens arrived. Every day their ships hung in Earth's outer system like patient vultures. Every day they sent the same polite messages asking for humanity's decision. Every day the threats became a little less subtle. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked 18-hour days in the hidden laboratories beneath Luna City. The moon base looked like any other mining operation from the outside, but beneath the surface, in chambers carved from solid rock, humanity's greatest secret was taking shape. "How are the retrofits coming?" Elena asked, walking through the main lab. Her assistants barely looked up from their work. Everyone knew time was running out. "The Indomitable is nearly complete," said Dr. Park, her head of engineering. "We've integrated the zero-point cores into all primary systems. The alien scanners still read them as nuclear reactors." Elena nodded. "The zero-point energy cores were humanity's greatest achievement. Reverse-engineered from the crashed Zephyrian scout ship 96 years ago, the technology could power a city for 1,000 years, but to alien scanners, it looked exactly like primitive nuclear fusion." "What about the weapons?" Dr. Park smiled. "The kinetic cannons are ready. Gravitational accelerators are online and hidden inside the original barrel assemblies. We can now fire projectiles at 97% light speed." "And they still think we're using gunpowder," Elena said with satisfaction. She walked to the next section, where teams were working on the hull modifications. The Indomitable and her sister ships looked exactly the same from the outside. The same gray metal, the same weapon ports, the same engine exhausts. But appearances could be deceiving. "The metamaterial integration is complete on 40 ships," reported Dr. Singh. "Self-repairing hull sections are active. The metal can now restructure itself at the molecular level." Elena touched one of the hull samples. It looked like ordinary steel, but it was actually stronger than anything the aliens possessed. When damaged, the material would flow like liquid, to seal breaches, then harden again in seconds. "Phase generation capability?" "Fully operational," Dr. Singh said proudly. "We can shift any of our ships out of normal space-time." The aliens' own phase technology, but improved. Elena had to smile at that. The Zephyrians thought phase shifting was their unique advantage. They had no idea that humans had been studying their technology for decades. Not only could human ships now phase shift, they could do it better and faster than the aliens who invented it. Her communicator beeped. "Dr. Vasquez, you're needed in command." Elena took the high-speed transport to the command center, deep in the moon's core. Admiral Chen was there, along with General Rodriguez from Earth Defense Command and Director Walsh from Intelligence. "Elena," Admiral Chen said as she entered, "show them the latest test results." Elena activated the holographic display. Combat footage appeared in the air above the conference table. It showed a human destroyer engaging 3 alien drone ships in a simulation. "This was yesterday's test in the asteroid belt," Elena explained. "The destroyer is running full stealth protocols. To alien sensors, it appears to be using standard human technology. In the footage, the human ship opened fire with what looked like conventional kinetic weapons. The alien drones activated their phase shields, confident they were safe. The human projectiles passed through normal space and struck empty vacuum. Then, the real attack began. "Phase-shifted kinetic rounds," Elena said as new projectiles appeared on screen. "They exist in the same dimensional space as the alien shields. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The alien drones exploded simultaneously. Their advanced shields had been useless. "Beautiful," said General Rodriguez. "How many ships are ready for this?" 89 vessels are fully retrofitted," Admiral Chen replied. "Every ship in the Heritage Fleet. From the outside, they look exactly like the museum pieces the aliens think they are." Director Walsh leaned forward. "What about their communications? Are we still intercepting their signals?" "Better than that," Elena said. She pulled up another display showing alien fleet positions. "We've been inside their communication network for 6 weeks. They think their quantum encryption is unbreakable." The display showed the positions of every alien ship in the system, their patrol routes, their shift changes, even their personal messages to their homeworlds. "They're getting impatient," Director Walsh observed. "High Commander Vexitar has been ordered to begin pacification procedures if humanity doesn't surrender within the next 2 weeks. "Perfect," Admiral Chen said. Let them make the first move. The longer we wait, the more overconfident they become. Elena brought up the final display. It showed a complete analysis of alien technology, gathered from decades of secret observation and study. Their phase disruptors are powerful but limited, she explained. They can only fire in normal space-time. Our ships can now shift between dimensions during combat. Their energy shields are impressive, but have a fatal flaw. They're designed to stop energy weapons and conventional matter. They were never tested against phase-shifted kinetic weapons. Their faster-than-light drives are elegant but slow to activate. Our new drives can fold space in half the time. General Rodriguez whistled. So we're faster, better armed and better defended. What's their advantage? Numbers, Admiral Chen said simply. They have 1,200 ships. We have 89. But they don't know what they're really fighting, Elena added. Every tactical analysis they've run is based on our old technology. They think this will be over in hours. Director Walsh pulled up intelligence reports. Our agents report that Vextar is planning a simple, overwhelming assault. He believes human ships will surrender after the first exchange of fire. Overconfidence, Admiral Chen said. The galaxy's oldest mistake. They see primitive humans in outdated ships and assume easy victory. Elena looked at the tactical displays. The alien fleet was positioned for a classic bombardment formation. They expected to destroy human resistance quickly and completely. They had planned for everything except the possibility that their enemy had been studying them for nearly a century. There's something else, she said quietly. Our analysis of their communication patterns suggests this isn't just about Earth's resources. She activated a new set of files. This is a test. The Galactic Council has been expanding for thousands of years. They want to see how quickly they can break a new species, how much resistance we can offer. They're studying us like we studied them, General Rodriguez realized. Exactly. But they're making the same mistake every conqueror makes. They assume the conquered are inferior. Admiral Chen stood up. How long until all ships are ready? 72 hours, Elena replied. All retrofits will be complete and tested. Good. Send word to all commanders. Maintain normal patrol patterns. Continue diplomatic discussions. Act exactly like a species that knows it's outmatched. The meeting broke up, and Elena returned to her labs. 72 hours to complete humanity's greatest deception. 72 hours before the galaxy learned what humans were really capable of. She walked through the engineering sections, watching her teams put the finishing touches on weapon systems that didn't officially exist. Gravitational accelerators that could punch holes through planets. Hull armor that could repair itself faster than enemy weapons could damage it. Phase generators that would let human ships dance between dimensions like ghosts, all hidden inside ships that looked like relics from humanity's violent past. Dr. Vasquez, one of her assistants called out, we're ready for the final systems test on the Indomitable. Run it, she said. The test lasted 30 seconds. Every new system came online perfectly, then shut down again. To anyone watching, it would look like a routine power check on an old ship's reactors. Elena smiled. The aliens thought they were so clever, hanging in space and waiting for humanity to break. They had no idea the trap was already set. All humanity had to do now was wait for the predators to make their move. The ultimatum arrived at exactly 0800 hours Earth Standard Time. High Commander Vextar's image appeared on screens throughout the solar system, his blue-tinted face wearing an expression of patient disappointment. People of Earth, he began, his voice carrying that same musical quality that had once seemed charming. The Galactic Council has been more than generous with our offer. We have waited 4 months for your leaders to see reason. Admiral Chen watched from the bridge of the Indomitable. Around her, the bridge crew maintained their stations with professional calm, but she could feel the tension in the air. This was the moment they had all been preparing for. Your continued refusal to accept our protection leaves us with no choice, Vextar continued. We cannot allow a primitive species to remain unguided in civilized space. You have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally or face the consequences. The transmission ended. Chen looked at her communications officer. Any response from Earth Command? Yes, ma'am. Message reads, maintain defensive positions. Protect Earth at all costs. Make them regret their choice. Chen smiled grimly. All stations battle ready, but maintain normal patrol patterns. Let them think we're just going through the motions. Across the solar system, 89 human warships moved into position. To alien sensors, it looked like a desperate last stand. The human ships spread out in a thin defensive line, badly outnumbered and outgunned. Exactly what the aliens expected from a primitive species. The alien fleet began moving 6 hours before the deadline. 1,200 ships of impossible beauty, their hulls gleaming with energy fields and exotic matter. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of deadly fish swimming through space. Captain Torres of the stealth reconnaissance ship Shadow's Edge transmitted from her hidden position near the asteroid belt. Admiral, enemy fleet is accelerating to attack speed. Count confirms 1,200 vessels. They're coming in 3 waves. Understood, Captain, Chen replied. All ships, remember your training. Wait for my command. The alien fleet was impressive, she had to admit. The Zephyrian dreadnoughts led the formation, massive ships that looked like flowing metal sculptures. Behind them came the Luminari energy vessels, crackling with power that hurt to look at directly. The Nexari crystal ships brought up the rear, their faceted hulls catching and reflecting starlight like prisms. Enemy ships charging weapons, reported her tactical officer. Phase disruptors coming online across the entire fleet. Chen nodded. Phase disruptors were the aliens' most feared weapon. They could shift matter out of normal space-time, making it impossible for conventional shields or armor to stop them. Entire worlds had surrendered rather than face those weapons. Maintain course, she ordered. Let them get close. The alien fleet closed to weapons range. On the main screen, Chen could see the energy building in their weapons arrays. Beautiful, deadly light that would have terrified any normal enemy. Vexitar's voice crackled across all frequencies. Human vessels, you are ordered to surrender immediately. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is your final warning. Chen activated the fleet-wide communications channel. Every human ship in the system could hear her voice. This is Admiral Chen to all vessels. The enemy has made their choice. Now we show them ours. She paused, looking at her bridge crew. These men and women had trained their entire careers for this moment. They knew the risks, knew what they were facing, but they also knew what they were really capable of. All ships, she said quietly, reveal your teeth. The transformation was immediate and terrifying. Across the human fleet, hull panels slid away to reveal weapons that shouldn't exist. The old-looking kinetic cannons suddenly blazed with gravitational field generators. The simple metal hulls began to shimmer with phase field effects. But the real shock came when the aliens opened fire. 1,200 phase disruptors fired simultaneously. Beams of twisted space-time lanced out toward the human ships, weapons that had never failed to destroy their targets. The alien crews watched with satisfaction, expecting to see the primitive human vessels torn apart. The beams struck home and dissipated harmlessly against the human hulls. High Commander Vexitar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Impossible! Our weapons passed through them like they weren't there. His tactical officer's voice was shaking. Commander, the human ships are phase-shifting. They exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. That's impossible, Vexitar shouted. Only we possess phase technology. Admiral Chen's voice answered him, broadcast on all frequencies for the entire alien fleet to hear. You possess old phase technology, Commander. We've had nearly a century to improve on your designs. The human counterattack began. The Indomitables. Main guns opened fire. But these weren't the primitive kinetic weapons the aliens expected. Gravitational accelerators hurled projectiles at 97% of light speed, each round carrying the kinetic energy of a small asteroid. The first Zephyrian dreadnought exploded before its shields could react. The projectile punched through, the ship's hull like it was made of paper, the massive vessel breaking apart in a chain of secondary explosions. Across the battle line, human ships opened fire with weapons the aliens couldn't understand. Kinetic rounds that shifted between dimensions to bypass shields, gravitational fields that crushed ships like tin cans, energy beams that turned alien hulls into vapor. But the most terrifying sight was the human ships themselves. They flickered, in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy vessels to deliver killing shots, then vanishing again before return fire could reach them. Captain Maria Santos of the destroyer Relentless demonstrated humanity's most devastating innovation. Her ship materialized directly alongside a luminary energy vessel, close enough that the alien crew could see her through their transparent hull. "Kinetic threading engaged," Santos announced calmly. Her ship fired what looked like a simple machine gun. Tiny projectiles, no bigger than bullets, struck the alien ship's hull. The Luminari crew laughed at such primitive weapons. The laughter stopped when the projectiles began to expand inside their ship. Each tiny round carried a controlled fusion charge that activated after penetration. The beautiful energy vessel was shredded from within, its hull splitting open like a flower as internal explosions tore it apart. High Commander Vextar watched his fleet die around him. Ships that had conquered 100 worlds were being destroyed. By weapons he didn't understand, tactics that shouldn't be possible. "All ships, retreat to secondary formation," he ordered. "Activate dimensional shields." "Commander," his tactical officer reported, "the dimensional shields aren't working. The human weapons are penetrating every defense we have." Vextar looked at his display. In 30 minutes, he had lost 400 ships. The human fleet had taken minimal damage, their advanced hulls repairing themselves faster than his weapons could hurt them. "This is impossible," he whispered. "They're using primitive technology, metal ships with chemical rockets." Admiral Chen's voice filled his bridge again, calm and professional. "Commander Vexitar, your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and your surviving ships will be allowed to withdraw." Vextar stared at the tactical display. 800 ships remaining out of 1,200. The humans had lost 7 vessels, and even those were still fighting with damaged but functioning systems. "How?" he demanded. "How did primitives do this to us?" Chen's answer chilled him to the bone. "We've been watching you for over a century, Commander. Every battle, every tactic, every weakness. We know your technology better than you do because we've had time to perfect it. You wanted to see humanity's true capabilities? Congratulations! You're the first alien fleet to witness them firsthand." The remaining alien ships began to retreat, their perfect formation dissolving into panicked flight. The mighty Galactic Council fleet, which had never known defeat, fled from the primitive humans they had come to conquer. Chen watched them go with grim satisfaction. "All ships, hold position. Do not pursue. Let them carry word back to their council." She turned to her bridge crew. "Well done. Send word to Earth Command. Phase 1 is complete." The trap had been sprung. Now the galaxy would learn that humanity was nobody's prey. The wreckage drifted through space like a graveyard of broken dreams. 400 alien ships, each one a masterpiece of advanced engineering, reduced to twisted metal and cooling plasma. The survivors limped away from Earth's solar system, their perfect hulls scarred and their confidence shattered. High Commander Vextar sat in his damaged command chair, staring at tactical displays that made no sense. His flagship had lost 3 of its 4 main drives and half of its weapons systems. The luminary energy beings who served as his advisors flickered weakly, their light dimmed by shock and disbelief. "Report," he demanded. His tactical officer, a young Zephyrian whose blue skin had gone pale with fear, consulted his instruments with shaking hands. We have lost 437 vessels, Commander. Of our remaining ships, 60% are severely damaged. And the humans? They lost 14 ships, Commander, but even their destroyed vessels continued fighting until the very end. Some of them were still firing weapons while their hulls were breaking apart. Vextar closed his eyes. In all his years of commanding Galactic Council fleets, he had never encountered anything like this. The humans fought with a brutality that terrified him. But it wasn't mindless violence. Every move had been calculated, every tactic designed for maximum effectiveness. How did they do it? He asked the empty air. How did primitives with metal ships defeat the greatest fleet in the galaxy? Doctor, Elena Vasquez could have answered that question. She stood in the command center beneath Luna City, watching the battle's aftermath through long-range scanners. Around her, teams of analysts reviewed every second of combat footage, studying how their weapons and tactics had performed against real alien technology. The kinetic threading worked better than expected, reported Dr. Park. Fusion expansion inside enemy hulls caused catastrophic damage. Even their energy shields couldn't stop microscopic projectiles. Elena nodded, making notes on her tablet. What about the phase shifting? Perfect performance across all vessels. We could appear and disappear faster than their targeting systems could track. Several alien ships were firing at empty space while we attacked from completely different positions. She pulled up the tactical analysis on the main screen. The battle had been a masterpiece of deception and superior technology, but it had also revealed something important about their enemies. Look at their retreat pattern, she said to the assembled officers. Notice how they fell back in perfect formation even while taking massive casualties. These aren't cowards or fools. Admiral Chen's voice came through the communication system. Dr. Vasquez, report to Briefing Room 3. We have prisoners to interview. The briefing room was deep in the moon's secure section. 3 alien survivors sat at a metal table, their hands secured with restraints that looked primitive, but were actually made of the same metamaterial as their ship hulls. 1 Zephyrian, 1 luminary energy being contained in a force field, and 1 Nexari crystal entity. Admiral Chen sat across from them, flanked by Director Walsh from Intelligence and General Rodriguez. Elena took her place at the analysis station, where she could monitor the aliens' vital signs and stress responses. I am Admiral Chen, she began formally. You are prisoners of war, but you will be treated according to civilized standards. The Zephyrian officer looked up. His uniform was torn and his blue skin was marked with burns from his ship's destruction. I am Commander Thexnal of the 4th Battle Group. I demand to know how you defeated us. Chen smiled coldly. You demand? Commander, you came to our system with weapons charged and threats on your lips. You fired first. We simply responded. Impossible, the luminary being flickered. Our intelligence. Reports show your species possesses only primitive technology. Chemical rockets, nuclear weapons, metal projectiles. Your intelligence was correct, Elena said from her station. We do use all of those things. The Nexari's crystal structure chimed with confusion. Then how did you defeat phase disruptors? With metal hulls? How did your kinetic weapons penetrate dimensional shields? Elena activated a holographic display above the table. It showed a human ship in cross-section, revealing the hidden technology within. This is the UES Indomitable, she explained. From the outside, it looks exactly like a 200-year-old human warship. Chemical rockets, nuclear reactors, kinetic cannons. The display zoomed in on the ship's interior. Inside, it houses technology that your species abandoned long ago. 0-point energy cores that we've refined beyond your current capabilities. Gravitational field generators that turn simple metal slugs into planet-killing weapons. Phase manipulation systems that make your own look primitive. Commander Thexnal stared at the display. That's impossible. You would need centuries of development to achieve such integration. We've had 96 years, Director Walsh said quietly. Ever since your first scout ship crashed in our desert. The silence in the room was deafening. The three prisoners looked at each other with growing horror as they realized what had happened. "You've been studying us," the luminary being whispered. "All this time, you've been watching and learning. Every ship that passed through our system," Chen confirmed. "Every communication you thought was secure, every tactical manual you transmitted, we intercepted it all." Elena brought up another display showing decades of intercepted alien communications. "We know your fleet compositions, your standard tactics, your weapons capabilities. We know which systems you've conquered and how you conquered them. But more importantly," she continued, "we know your weaknesses." The display changed to show alien ship schematics with weak points highlighted in red. "Your phase disruptors can only fire in normal space-time. When we phase shifted our ships, your weapons became useless. Your dimensional shields are designed to stop energy weapons and normal matter. They were never tested against phase-shifted kinetic projectiles. Your energy-based hulls are elegant and efficient, but they can't repair themselves. Our metamaterial hulls can rebuild from almost any damage." Commander Thexnal slumped in his chair. "You turned our own technology against us." "We improved your technology," Elena corrected. "Your phase shifting is limited to short jumps. Ours can keep ships phased indefinitely. Your gravitational weapons are crude and obvious. Ours are precise and devastating." General Rodriguez leaned forward. "The question now is what happens next. Your fleet was sent here to conquer us. What will your Galactic Council do when they learn you failed?" "They won't believe it," the Nexari entity chimed. "No primitive species has ever defeated Council forces. They'll send more ships." "How many more?" Chen asked, the luminary being flickered nervously. "The Council has over 50,000 ships, if they believe humanity poses a threat. They'll send everything they have," Thexnal finished. "A full extermination fleet." Elena felt a chill run through the room. 50,000 ships. Even with their advanced technology, humanity only had 89 vessels. But Chen seemed unworried. "Thank you for that information. It will be very useful for our planning." She stood up. "You'll be returned to your home systems with a message for your council. Tell them that humanity wishes to coexist peacefully with all species. But if they choose war, they will find us ready. Tell them that we've been watching them for nearly a century. We know their strengths and their weaknesses. We've prepared for this war longer than they've been thinking about us. And tell them," Chen's voice became hard as steel, "that what happened here was just a small demonstration. If they want to see humanity's true capabilities, they're welcome to try again." The prisoners were escorted away to medical treatment and eventual repatriation. Elena remained behind with the senior officers. 50,000 ships, General Rodriguez said quietly. "Even with our advantages." "We'll be ready," Elena said confidently. "What they don't know is that we've been building more than just weapons." She activated one final display, showing construction sites throughout the outer solar system. Massive shipyards hidden in asteroid belts, manufacturing facilities built into the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. The Heritage Fleet was just the beginning. "We've been building a true war fleet in secret, ships designed from the ground up with integrated alien technology." Admiral Chen smiled. "How many?" 500 ships will be ready within 6 months, advanced designs that make our current vessels look primitive." "Good," Chen said, "because when the Galactic Council returns, they're going to find out what happens when you underestimate humanity twice." The meeting broke up, but Elena remained at her station. She looked at the tactical displays showing the retreating alien ships, carrying news of humanity's capabilities back to their masters. Let them come, she thought. Humanity had spent a century preparing for this war. The galaxy was about to learn that some species were too dangerous to conquer. The survivors of Vextar's fleet would spread the word throughout civilized space. The primitive humans, with their metal ships and chemical rockets, had defeated the mighty Galactic Council. But that was just the opening move. The real game was about to begin. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the Galactic Council convened in emergency session for the first time in 3,000 years. The Great Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime had not seen such tension since the Void War ended the last major galactic conflict. Representatives from 200 species filled the massive chamber. The Zephyrians sat in stunned silence, their delegation led by a heavily scarred High Commander Vex Tar. The luminary energy beings flickered nervously, their usual, bright radiance dimmed by uncertainty. Even the ancient Nexari, whose crystal forms had weathered millennia of galactic politics, seemed shaken. At the center of the chamber stood the Council's supreme arbitrator, a being so old that its original species had been forgotten. Its voice resonated through dimensions as it called the session to order. "We are gathered to address an unprecedented situation," the arbitrator began. "For the first time in recorded history, a primitive species has defeated a full Council battle fleet." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Some delegates still refused to believe the reports. Others demanded immediate retaliation. A few, the wisest among them, suggested caution. High Commander Vex Tar stood to address the assembly. His once proud bearing was broken, his voice hollow with defeat. "Honored delegates, I have seen humanity's true capabilities with my own eyes. We underestimated them catastrophically. They possess technology that surpasses our own. Their ships can phase shift better than ours. Their weapons can penetrate any defense we have. Their hull materials repair themselves faster than we can damage them." The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Many delegates refused to accept such claims. From their own forces. "Impossible," declared a Krillian war chief. "No species develops such technology in isolation." "They're not isolated," Vex Tar replied grimly. "They've been watching us for nearly a century, learning from us, improving on everything we thought we had mastered." Meanwhile, in Earth's solar system, Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest vessel. The UES Prometheus was 5 times larger than the old Indomitable, its hull gleaming with integrated alien technologies that humanity had spent decades perfecting. Around Earth's sun, nearly 500 human warships hung in perfect formation. Each one represented the culmination of humanity's technological advancement. Ships that looked nothing like the primitive vessels that had defeated Vex Tar's fleet. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council, priority diplomatic channel." "Put it through," Chen ordered. The image that appeared was not High Commander Vex Tar or any other military leader. Instead, it was the Council's supreme arbitrator itself, a being that had not communicated directly with any species in over 1,000 years. "Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Forces," the ancient being's voice carried the weight of ages. "I am the supreme arbitrator of the Galactic Council. I request immediate negotiations." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Request, not demand." That was progress. "I am willing to discuss terms," she replied. "But this time the negotiations will be held on equal footing." 3 days later, the diplomatic meeting took place in neutral space, at a location halfway between Earth and the Council's nearest starbase. But the dynamics had completely changed from that first encounter months ago. The Council's delegation arrived in their most impressive ships, but they approached humanity's fleet with obvious caution. Chen's new flagship dwarfed even the largest, alien vessels, its hull bristling with weapons that the Council's scientists couldn't identify. Admiral Chen wore the same dress uniform as before, but now the medals on her chest included new decorations. The Galactic Victory Medal, created specifically to commemorate humanity's first space battle. The Strategic Excellence Ribbon, awarded for the deception campaign that had made victory possible. The meeting chamber was human-designed this time, aboard the diplomatic vessel UES Reconciliation. Clean metal walls, functional furniture, no unnecessary decoration. The aliens sat in chairs provided by their hosts, a subtle reminder of who held the power now. Supreme Arbitrator, Chen began formally, you requested these negotiations. What does the Galactic Council propose? The ancient being's form shifted, showing stress patterns that hadn't been seen in millennia. Admiral Chen, the Council acknowledges that our previous approach to human-alien relations was inadequate. Chen waited silently. Let them do the talking for once. We offer full membership in the Galactic Council, the arbitrator continued. Equal status with all member species, full access to trade routes, technology exchanges, diplomatic protections. In exchange for what? Chen asked. Peace, the arbitrator said simply. Assurance that humanity will not use its advanced capabilities against other council members. Chen considered this. The same council that sent 1,200 ships to conquer us now offers us membership? The same species who called us primitives now want us as equals? High Commander Vextar, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Admiral, I have seen what your species is capable of. If the Council chooses to continue this conflict, it will be the end of galactic civilization as we know it. Explain, Chen said. Vextar activated a holographic display showing tactical projections. Our analysts have studied your fleet movements, your construction programs, your technological development rate. If this becomes a full war, you will have technological superiority within 2 years. Your species doesn't just adapt alien technology. You perfect it beyond our original capabilities. Our phase disruptors become your phase cannons. Our gravitational fields become your space-folding drives. The luminary representative flickered nervously. We have reports from our deep space. Observers. Human scout ships have been detected in 47 star systems. You've been mapping our entire territory. Chen nodded. We learned the importance of intelligence gathering from watching your species. Knowledge is power, and we intend to never be caught unprepared again. The Nexari delegate's crystal structure chimed with curiosity. What are humanity's terms for peace? Chen had been waiting for this question. First, complete withdrawal of all Council military forces from Terran space. Our solar system is now a sovereign territory. Second, full diplomatic recognition of human independence. No more offers of protection or guidance. Third, establishment of mutual defense pacts with any species that wishes them. Not under Council authority, but as independent agreements between equal partners. The arbitrator processed this. And in return, humanity will share certain technological advances with peaceful species. We will participate in galactic commerce and diplomacy. We will help defend against genuine threats to galactic security. But, Chen's voice became hard, any attempt to conquer, subjugate, or otherwise threaten humanity or its allies will be met with the full force of our capabilities. She gestured to the display showing Earth's new fleet. You've seen what we can do when we're unprepared and outnumbered. Don't make us show you what we can do when we're ready for war. The Council delegation conferred in whispered tones and alien languages. Finally, the arbitrator spoke. The Galactic Council accepts these terms. We will draft formal treaties recognizing human sovereignty and establishing diplomatic relations between our peoples. Good, Chen said. But there's one more thing. She activated her own display, showing the wider galaxy beyond Council space. Your Council controls maybe 30% of inhabited systems. What about the rest? The pirates? The hostile species? The real threats you mentioned when you first offered us protection? Vextar looked confused. What about them? Chen smiled, and for the first time it wasn't cold or threatening. Humanity is interested in making new friends, species that might appreciate having a strong ally, someone who won't try to conquer them or force them into unwanted treaties. You see, we've learned something important from this experience. The galaxy is full of species who've been pushed around by more powerful neighbors, species who've been told they're primitive or inferior. species who've been forced to accept protection they never wanted. Humanity is offering an alternative. Alliance by choice, not conquest. Partnership between equals, not subjugation by superiors. The council delegation realized what she was suggesting. Humanity wasn't just seeking independence. They were preparing to challenge the council's entire power structure. "You're talking about revolution," the arbitrator said quietly. "I'm talking about evolution," Chen corrected. "The galaxy is changing. Species are tired of being ruled by ancient powers who think age means wisdom and technology means superiority. Humanity offers a new model. Cooperation instead of domination. Mutual benefit instead of exploitation. Respect instead of condescension." She stood up, signaling the end of negotiations. "The Council can choose to be part of this new galaxy or remain trapped in the old one. But either way, the change is coming." The formal treaties were signed 3 weeks later. Humanity became the first species in galactic history to join the Council as a fully equal member after defeating them in battle. But the real changes were just beginning. Within a year, 17 species had signed mutual defense pacts with humanity. Within 2 years, a new alliance was forming among the galaxy's younger civilizations. Admiral Chen, now promoted to Fleet Admiral and Earth's first Galactic